Now then, what on earth is he doing today, you say? Well, on Facebook, Charlotte Ray, one of my friends, was saying, asking a question, what mics does everybody use? And everyone was sort of, the vast majority was saying this one, the Shure SM58, which I've had for a lot of years. At the time it cost me about £99, and now they're about 115, something like that, so they've gone up in price. I'm going through setting everything the same. I'm going to set this one against the Stag SD50 and also the Stag MD500 dynamic, one of my older mics, and also I might even throw in a little Behringer C2 condenser mic, so keep watching. Anyway, if I switch off, that's my normal voice without the mic, so I'm just using this through an iPad. I'm not using anything else, it's just recording straight off an iPad. But I'm going to keep the settings on this, the gain at 12 o'clock and the volume at 12 o'clock. So if I was going to hold this about the usual distance. What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? That's going quite good. I've got reverb on about a quarter. Just about a quarter on the amp, so it just gives me, my voice isn't very good, makes it sound a bit better. When we're doing gigs, our band, we've got about 25 members, there's probably about 16 of us on average go out, depends on which gig. Care homes are smaller, but we always have the mics. Me and Ros will maybe share a mic and it'll be further away, so what's it like? I'll keep them all the same at that distance. What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? Yeah, it's still picking up. Obviously not as the closer you get a mic to your lips, the louder it'll be. But yeah, it's a good mic. It feels solid. It's obviously well built. I've had it years. The only thing I don't like about it is there's no on and off switch on it. And normally if we've got 6 or 7 mics lined up, I like at the interval, click the mics off. I know you can go to your mixer or whatever and switch it off, but quite often I like, with this it's got a USB port to put some music in the interval, or Bluetooth off your phone. That's a brilliant speaker, and you can do that and just switch the mics off and switch them back on. With this, if I'm going to disconnect this and try another mic, I've got to switch the volume down or switch the amp off. So good mic, solid, nothing wrong with it, can't really criticise it, apart from as I say, they are quite expensive, about £115. So if you've got 6 or 7 microphones, you work out the maths, you're looking about £800 if you've got a fair sized group. So I'll switch this down and I shall plug in the latest Shure I got, which is the SD50 Professional, it says. And that's got an on-off switch. I'll switch the volumes to the same place. The reverb's on a quarter, the gain's on 50%. Switch without it. This is me talking rubbish as usual. Switch it on. Now the on-off switch, it's got an on-off switch. Switch it on. There you go. It's got an on-off switch. It's quite flimsy. It feels lighter in the hand. It doesn't feel quite as well. It's got like a little stick-on thing there at the top, which is neither here nor there. It just feels a little bit still solid. It's still a good mic. I mean, I don't know whether you can hear much difference there. It sounds almost the same as the Stag, as the Shure SM58 to me. It sounds very, very clear. These are about £25, so they're less than a quarter of the price. And I think why I tended to go for the Stags, to be honest, is if you're getting 6 or 7, 8 mics, it's cost. You're going to save hundreds of pounds, hundreds of dollars, whatever. And I can't see that much difference. What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? If I put it back there. What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? So to me it sounds almost identical to the SM58, the Shure. So it's a very similar mic. And it actually comes for that £25. It actually comes with this 5-metre cable, which I'm putting them all through. So again, keeping it as it's standard. And I can switch this one off. As I say, it's a little bit lighter. It's, I don't know if you can see that. It's longer than the SM58 by Shure. It's a longer, thinner, slightly thinner mic. That's got a very solid feel. This is still solid, but maybe not quite as solid. Anyway, moving on. Take that one off. This is what I used to have. I would recommend, if you can still get hold of these are the old Stags. They don't produce them, I don't think, anymore. They're the MD500 dynamic. And, oops, I've left that switched on. So I switched it off, and that's me talking without it. Switch it on. And I don't know whether you can hear that. Straight away, I might have to turn the reverb down a bit on there, because that is, it just sounds to me very mellow tone. Put the reverb back to where it was. What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? Brilliant. But as I say, we normally push it back. For me and Rosa sharing the mic, we'd probably be back there somewhere, maybe a bit further back. What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? It's a little bit, I can hear that. I know you might say, well, you're singing louder, Graham. I'm trying not to, honest. But I think this one always seems to give you a bit more projection, a bit more volume. I prefer, this is one of the, to be honest, it's one of my favourite microphones. You can still get them off eBay for 20 to 22 pounds each. MD500 dynamic by Stag. I think they're great. They feel solid. They're as solid as the Shure SM58s. They've got the on-off switch. The build quality is better, and this is all much nicer, and it just feels better, and it just sounds better to me. It's, we've had these quite far back, because if I'm not using this this is our care home amp, but if we're doing bigger gigs, I'll use a Vonx A8 8-channel mixer, and you can really rack that up and have these mics, and they're fine. Anyway, again, I can just switch this off at the little on-off switch, which is, this on-off switch feels much better, much more solid, and this construction here, it's much more solid than the new Stag SD50s. No, I think they've took a backwards step. Maybe they're trying to save costs, I don't know. And finally, this is a Behringer. This is a condenser mic. Now the good thing about this, if you get it plugged in, which I have, into the outermost socket, it has phantom power as well, because these do take phantom powers. But this is just a little mic. I'll turn the volume down, because this has no real on-off switch. It has a little click on here, a little switch, which I think, I'm no techie, you can click up an extra 10 decibels or knock it down 10 decibels. But I'll switch on the, I'm leaving the reverb at the same setting. I'm switching on the phantom power, and then I'm taking that up, wow, to 12 o'clock, wow. Wow. Now the only thing is with the condensers, I'm going to knock the reverb down a bit there. I'm going to have to knock the volume down. The condensers, normally you wouldn't have them anywhere near the amp. You can get feedback. The downside of these are tiny. They're the difference. They're tiny. Yeah, they're really lightweight, but they're brilliant. I'll try and turn it up. If I'm trying to turn that up to the, whoa, I'm just too close. But you can see the volume I'm getting out of that. That's at about, it's just at about 40%, not even that. We're not as loud. The gain's the same. I've got to be more sensitive with these. But again, we can have this between me and Roz. And the benefit with the condensers as well is you don't even have to really plug your instruments in. They'll pick up your ukuleles or your guitars, whatever, but we use it. Obviously, you know, we're a ukulele band, the Eagle Ukes, check us out. All these other settings as well, they're all on 12 o'clock, the low, medium and high. I've kept them the same at 12 o'clock. But that's a great microphone. And if Roz was here as well, it would pick her up. And even back there, this is when it comes into its own. I can put it back there. Then I can set the volume up to where we were before. Maybe put the reverb up. You can hear that, it's getting very echoey. So I say these are really to be pushed a lot further. They can take up 2 or 3, 4 of these, will probably, maybe 2 of them, on boom mics angled into your group will pick up the whole group sound. It's trial and error. If you can go to the venue beforehand and set up, we always try and get to the venue about half an hour before the gig so we can see what's going on and set everything up, make sure everything's all right. So I'll just switch that down a little bit, switch off the condenser. Oh, did I sing? What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? Brilliant. Switch that down. Now, people have always said on the back of this, they've said about it's got an XLR input. I'll just turn that, and that's the phantom power. The phantom power is just for this channel here, just for this input. So you need an XLR into there. But I've had a few people saying, well, and you can put your into these two here. You can put your instruments. We put out mine and Roz's. We can go. You use the Moon A8s and go wireless. Click them into here. But you can plug your couple of Ukes into there. But some people said, oh, well, we've got a few more, 4, 5, 6 people in the group. You've only got 2 inputs. Well, you can get a splitter like that. It's an XLR male into 2 females. So you can plug that in. So that you can then put 2 dynamic mics in. Or if you press on your phantom power, you can get 2 condensers in there. So you can pick up, use a condenser between 2 or 3 people. It's covered your group. It's brilliant. And what we tend to do in the care homes if we're using 3 or 4 mics is you can get one which is a 6.35 jack into 2 female XLRs, and I can plug that one into there, and you could have your 4 dynamic mics, or you can click you can click that phantom power on. You can have these 2 going into condensers, and it doesn't matter with that phantom power on. You can still have just your dynamic mics. So you've got 4 mics into one. There's no interference. A lot of people think, oh, well, you're splitting the signal. Does it interfere? Do the voices interfere with each other? No, they don't. So that's a very cheap way of using a great 100-watt amp and using these splitters. These ones tend to cost probably about £7 or £8. These are about double the price for some reason. I don't know why, but they are. But anyway, I hope that's helped. And it's lightish weight, and it's rechargeable, this, so I'll just take those out of there, switch them down. It's very quick. Put them in, put your mics in, jobs are good. But it's rechargeable. You can put a lead, you can leave a lead in here and just charge it up. It takes a few hours to charge, and it gives you between 4 and 6 hours of playtime, which is great. And it's got all the chorus effects, the reverb effects, it's got everything. And in here you can stick a USB stick, so in the interval you can just play your music before you start, and after, during the interval, and at the end. And you can also click on here, and you can also Bluetooth it to your phone and do that way. But I've done a full review. If you check out, you see the full review on that. It was mainly for the microphone. So end of the day, if you've got the money, nothing wrong with the Shure SM58s, great mics. If not, try and get the old, to me, try and get the old Stag MD500 Dynamics. They're probably one of the best Stag mics. If not, these are fine. The new, the SD50s, professional Stags. And why not have a little look into the condensers, Behringer C2s. They come in pairs, and they're for under £50. And these are great. 2 of these with but make sure that you've got condenser, you've got a phantom power. You've got phantom power. They need phantom power to them, so make sure you haven't got that, otherwise you're wasting your money. Anyway, hope that's helped. Fire away with your comments and your questions, and I'll do my best to help you. And we'll be back as normal for our favourite flavour on a Friday. Love you and leave you. Take care. Bye.